What is sportsmanship?
Massive drama.
I was having a shit.
Kimmy, what was wrong with you?
Everything.
How'd you do it?
Big balls.
Alright guys, welcome back to the series and welcome back to the intro as well. So let's get started here. We've got TCR Sonic submitting this clip from unnamed Spanish driver who's just punted his way to second place, which is traditional, but what is not traditional is doing celebratory drifts on lap 3 out of 5. So let's have a look here as he continues his way down the little chicane here. This is a great time to do it.
Julian told him he looked tough. I think he started to believe it, but he does not look tough. He looks fucked.
And I've got to admit, that is probably the most embarrassing way I've ever seen to go from second to ninth. In hindsight, maybe should have been a bit higher on the list, but anyway, it's still here nonetheless. And if it is the first submission, you know the rest are pretty good. So next up at 7, we have got a Monster Energy livery car and this chap. Now, you always got to be wary of guys in Monster Energy livery cars. But so far, not so bad, and if anything, the BMW kind of blocked him off there. But anyway, the Monster Energy car is going to punt him off, and well, a little bit off, and take the position. Of course, we're not too happy about that, rightfully so. But you got to make sure when you are going to get revenge that you are actually going to.
I got him locked.
And that is him crashing into the wall, while the Monster Energy car just continues on his merry way with no trouble whatsoever. Next up at 6, we have got Potato Boy with the fastest race in Gran Turismo, and probably the most chaotic straight line in Gran Turismo as well, as we have cars going off all over the place. Nothing he could have done about that, but nonetheless the game is going to reward him with a 3-second penalty for doing so. But he's still making up position, so it's all good. We're coming to the final corner, so things are hotting up a bit. We're closing in on second place, and that guy's, I don't know if he lost control or tried to block, but either way, he is out of the frame. And of course, Potato Boy does have this 3-second penalty to serve right now, so he's probably not going to get the win. The penalty line is coming up right about here, but first place has a bigger penalty, so that is the least likely of wins, because everyone else probably had a penalty too. And then next up at 5, we are going back to this track with a man whose name is very, very appropriate for the level of driving you are about to witness. You might want to take a shower after seeing this. So, as this car heads up to the first corner, I'm not going to even consider braking. We're just going to punt him off, or punt everyone off. That was quite successful actually. Very successfully up to 4th place, but the game at least does give a 4-second penalty for that. That's what it takes to get a penalty now. But anyway, so we're not the best here at sort of blocking people. Do need to work on that. We are down now into 7th place, and eventually he's learned how to block someone, and he's also not forgotten how to punt someone. That's probably why he wasn't too concerned about, you know, not being able to block, because he's just going to punt people off anyway. But he's going to have another 4-second penalty to serve there. He's gotten a bit better at the blocking efforts here, because there is another car coming up who he is going to try and block, but he's also going to send himself off, so it's not entirely successful, but he has successfully pissed off the entire lobby. So he is now spun, and well, that is going to be him out of the race. But that is not the only guilty party in this race, as we have this guy who, well, he wasn't second, not too happy about losing second, so he's punted that guy off. I didn't really see anything that warranted that, but anyway, we are back up into second. Didn't get a penalty for that. We've lost second again, so you know, we're having a meltdown here. We don't want to be outside of the top 2, and he's going to end up outside of the top 2 anyway, and with a 2-second penalty. So for all his efforts, it's going to be down into 6th place by the end of that. And then next up at number 4, we are going to Fuji. Lap 2, nothing happened between these two guys, but eventually, halfway through the braking point, this chap decided to not brake and just punt that other car off, probably relying on the off-road capabilities of the Subaru. But when you're that far off the track, it doesn't matter how good the off-road capabilities are. And then lap 3, gonna have another crack at the poor innocent soul in front of him, because like I said, I didn't see anything that chap did wrong. So going into the first corner, again going to tap the brakes but not enough, and this time we're going to fail even worse. And yeah, that's pretty embarrassing. Down into 8th place. So let's have a look. This is what happened at the first corner. A bit of nudging, you know, if anything, didn't really leave much room there, but still not the end of the world, right? I mean, that is Gran Turismo. That's just par for the course, really, nothing intentional. And then next up at 3, moving to Watkins Glen, the red car is going to shove the Renault into the wall, so rightfully upset about that. And now we have got the trademarked Rammer vision. So this is what things look like from the Rammer, or from their perspective, as they go in for the punt and miss out with the punt. And yeah, very embarrassed by that. Obviously I would be too, quitting the race, but let's just continue the embarrassment and have some more views of that. Let's have one final look at it from the rear view camera as he zooms past and out of the race. So next up at number 2, just missing out the number 1 spot. I mean, this guy woke up angry today, and there's not much else to say about that. So going into the first corner, he has perfected the art of the push to pass to not get a penalty. So he's really worked out this penalty system. I mean, he's up into 8th place after that start, and he's not done yet because he's going to charge his way back up all the way into 5th. And he's also not done because as we go through the next corner, he's going to shove the other Alpha off and up into 4th place with no penalties whatsoever. But still, we have lost a bit of speed up the straight, so we're going to just shove someone else into the wall. Still no penalties, so really working things out here. Probably a bit of a genius, I would say. Also, perfected pissing off the entire lobby as well, because he's going to get spun there. Now down into, well, he's going to be down into the position that he started, ironically. So down into 10th, so he's mastered going from 10th to 4th and back to 10th. And he's also mastered, for the sake of everyone else in this lobby, crashing himself off and then quitting the race so that everyone else can race in peace. And in taking the number 1 spot this week, this poor chap, leading the race after 8 laps, he is going to cock it up through the S's there and naturally take it out on someone who had nothing to do with that, as he gets in a 1.5 second penalty for crashing, well, yeah, for touching a wall and not for crashing off someone else. But anyway, as he heads up to the next set of S's, we're going to go for an almighty punt. Sort of succeed, but not really. Only really succeed in crashing ourselves into the wall here and picking up an additional 2 seconds of penalties. And also he succeeded in getting to the number 1 spot here. And we're also going to be brake checking, so we're not done. And obviously we all know, as you do with brake checking, you're just allowing people to catch up. You don't really achieve much. So as we head into the right-hander here, someone else has caught up, but we're not done punting Mrs. Diamond as we managed to do that again. And he's pretty good at crashing himself off too. But now he's going to have to serve a 6.5 second penalty, which has put him pretty close to last. But that has definitely put him last.
Like, what the happened to my life? I had it all.
So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, go and leave a like. If you're new around, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you very much to my patrons whose names are seen on screen right now. If you'd like to join them, get your name at the end of every single video. There's a link in the description, and I'll see you in my next one.